Hello and welcome to Educator.com's AP Studio Art 2D Design photo curriculum. Today we're going to be looking at a project about self-portraiture. So this is not going to be selfies, all right? Don't get your camera and try to do this kind of thing. That's not what we're doing. But we are going to talk about creating a really interesting, really vibrant and exceptional self-portrait project. So let's get going. All right, so before we can really start talking about self-portraits, we have to talk about self-portraits historically and self-portraiture in photography. So first of all, what is a self-portrait? It's an image in which the photographer himself is the subject of the photograph. Now, even though selfies are considered self-portrait, what we're really talking about for this particular project is creating artwork, right? Not necessarily just a snapshot, but again, we're trying to push ourselves from snapshot photography into fine art. So it's an image where the photographer is the subject, but it's one of the most common subject matters across the arts. So in fact, painters, the earliest artists have been making self-portraits forever. It's one of the most common types of art that has been made. In photography, even the earliest photographers were making self-portraits, and photography really started out more as a science than it did as an art form. So it's interesting that even those early scientists were still making self-portrait subjects as their point, making these self-portrait projects, which is kind of cool if you think about it, because you know, you're readily available. You don't have to worry about having a model or having to use anybody else in your photography. I think it's probably just because they were the most accessible subject matter that they could do for portraits. It's probably the truth. But anyway, as long as you are the one who trips the shutter, this is a really important point about self-portraits. But as long as you are the one who trips the shutter, which means that you are the one pushing the button, you can do it remotely. So there's lots of remote controls. You can get these on Amazon for like a couple dollars. But you can also use the self-timer on your camera. But as long as you're the one that actually pushes the button and you or your likeness is the subject of the photo, it is considered a self-portrait. And what I mean by you or your likeness, what your likeness is basically it could be your reflection. So maybe you take a photo of yourself in the mirror. That is considered your likeness as opposed to an actual photo of you. So it can be you or your likeness. It could also be a shadow of you. That's considered still a self-portrait. So you meet the requirement as long as you are physically somehow in the photograph.